Master, did you not care that we perish? Now, I don't know about you, but I can only speak for me, Pastor Jack King. I've had those times in my life when I felt that exact thing. And maybe in some way or another, I may even express that to God. Do you care? Do you care about me? Do you care about my life? And those times when I felt like that my boat was in jeopardy. And of course, by boat, I'm just talking about me. But this is what Scripture says. Here Jesus was on this lake. He's in the bottom of the ship. He's asleep. The disciples, they're just full of fear as they're seeing this very boisterous wind, as Luke describes it, a storm of wind that's taking the water and blowing it into the boat, and the boat's taking on water, and all they could see was that we're fixing to drown here. And so, to me, that just seems to describe circumstances and situations in life that we often deal with. And we say, Lord, what do we do? What do we do? And then, as I said before, you go to God and you don't feel like that you're getting any answers from God. Nothing's moving. The hands of God are not being moved at all. And you just get this feeling that God is just asleep, that Jesus is down at the bottom of the boat and he's not hearing a word you say. Well, there's a reason for that a lot of times, and it's called sin. Sin. A lot of times we're not hearing from God because there's sin in our lives. And this is all borne out by Scripture. You read about different people in the Bible that they were going through situations and then they weren't hearing from God because there was sin. And God himself says there's sin in the camp, sin in our lives. And here's the thing about sin, is that Scripture tells us that sin will separate you from God. Sin will separate you from God. And the only way to deal with that separation is to deal with the sin. And the only way you can deal with the sin is by just becoming clean about it and just being very, very honest about it. As we approach God and we just tell God, yes, I have sinned. And sometimes we have to be very specific about the sin. But here's the thing, is that you're not going to fool God if you think, well, I'm just going to go and I'm going to tell God I'm sorry for what I've done, but you know in your heart you're not finished with that sin, and you're going to go right back doing the same thing over and over again. That ain't going to work. It's just not going to work because God sees through it. So what God responds to is a contrite heart, a heart that is truly repentant, and a heart that's determined, I'm going to turn from my wicked ways. I'm going to turn from the evil in my life. I'm going to turn from the sin in my life. And then I'm going to ask God to forgive me for my past. And see, that's where we come to the Scripture that says he's faithful and just to forgive us and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness if we'll ask him. And then we can begin to deal with the peril and the jeopardy that we feel like that our boat is in. And it's amazing that when the Lord speaks to the situation, as he did there on that lake, he can just bring a wonderful calm. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.